Hey guys, Deslander Magic here, and it's time to take a slight break from MTG mistakes again because, well, I do have to make normal videos eventually, and also because I wanted to clear this one up. Speaking of clearing things up and addressing things that came up in the comment section, I will have the answers to the Q&A pretty soon. Gonna make that video hopefully over the weekend. So definitely go back and get your questions in if you didn't yet, because I'm still going to be answering them. But this particular video is about why I don't like Kamigawa as a block. Now, there's one thing you should know, and that's that I wasn't playing in 2005 when this came out. I've only heard about, what people thought of it at the time from other players, and it's not like I use Kamigawa cards every single day in Modern, because, well, they kind of suck. Now, I have said before in videos and comments that I generally did not like Kamigawa, but of course I never explained specifically why, and it's probably not what you think. Now, before I even get into the video, I have to add this disclaimer, because people, I guess rightfully so, misinterpret videos like this. I'm not saying, oh my god, I hate this, I made an entire video about it because I just have to rant about it for like 15 minutes, and oh my god, this is so terrible, it's the worst thing ever, I hate it. No, I slightly dislike Kamigawa. Slightly. I think it was just a minor mistake in how they designed it, and it's not that big of a deal. It seems like whenever I make a video saying that I don't like something, people in the comment section are like, you're so negative all the time, you hate everything, do you even like Magic, oh my god, blah blah blah. They're thinking that I'm just raging over Kamigawa every single day of my life. It's just the worst thing ever and I want to murder everybody responsible for it. No, I just slightly dislike it. So now here's a video about it. I'm not even saying that people who disagree with me about every last thing I say in this video are incorrect either. This is just my opinion. If you think, no, they did stick to the culture pretty well and this and that, and, I disagree with you, that's fine. I think you'll be able to detect pretty quickly when I'm talking about something I'm passionate about. Like, for example, cheaters and net deckers, which are an enormous problem. It does need to be addressed immediately, and if you disagree with me, you're a crazy person. But I usually state them as such, so without further ado, here is the actual video. Let's start out with why everybody else hates Kamigawa. People playing at the time said it was just horrible. I mean, standard constructed was bad enough, but if you tried to draft one of these sets, you couldn't get a damn thing going. None of the cards worked together. I mean, it was just absolutely horrific, and looking at the lists of cards, yeah, none of them worked together. It's not like it was today where you're like, oh, I'm going to hopefully go all flip cards, I'm going to go werewolf heavy, I'm going to go control heavy, I'm going to go flyer heavy. It was like, I'm going to pull some cards and then play with them. Everybody knows if the cards don't work together, it's pointless. You could be like, oh, that's a neat card, that's a neat card. Well, so what? Your deck doesn't do anything. So no synergy means no fun because everybody has a turbo pointless deck. So just from a design perspective, it was pretty bad. I heard it also didn't sell very well once people started seeing how bad it was, and I also heard that a ton of people stopped playing the game. And I mean a ton. I've heard rumors about the numbers. It was a lot of people who saw the set and said, I'm done with Magic. This set's just horrible, whatever. So eventually a lot of those people started replaying later when they saw a really good exciting set in the future, but it made a ton of people leave the game. So I think we can agree that, yeah, it was a bad set. I mean, maybe stylistically or art-wise or something, or some of the specific mechanics, they were appealing to you, you liked it, you liked some things about the set, and that's fine. I mean, I kind of agree. But here is why I don't like it, and this goes back to why I don't like anything that even vaguely resembles it. So you're traveling through planes and, you got your planeswalkers and they're traveling through planes. I think that actually wasn't really how the storyline worked back then. But whatever, the player, you, are visiting different planes and, every single set is on a different plane. And so, oh, where are we going next? What exciting new thing are they going to come up with? It's going to be so wild. And we land in Japan. Okay, it's Japan. Let's not lie to ourselves. We're in Japan. But see, here's the thing. How the hell did we come across Japan? It's the same thing as anime series or video games. You land in this one place and you start walking around in a new city or something. And you're like, oh, this place is Chinatown. What the hell is Chinatown doing in the middle of not our galaxy? Now, seeing the series Firefly, it makes sense because apparently Chinese culture was really big before everybody moved off of Earth, and that's why the Chinese language is really big in certain areas. It makes sense logically, you can follow it and they explain it. But let's take, a big box office hit like Avatar, Not the Last Airbender, as I like to call it, Smurf Cats the movie. Not only were all of the side characters just the most ridiculous walking, talking stereotypes, but the aliens were basically Native Americans. I mean, they might as well have not even been blue. If they think painting them blue and making them like 12 feet tall is going to stop me from thinking, okay, they basically just ripped off Native American culture and history, they're dreaming. So this is going to sound weird, but I can't get past the fact that it's Japan, but we're not supposed to be in Japan. There is no Japan. There's no Earth. This is Magic the Gathering. We haven't landed on frickin' Earth yet. You know why? Because I don't think there is an Earth. And they're not just sort of, saying, oh, we got something that kind of resembles a samurai, but they're aliens, or, or we kind of mixed together Japan and Mongolia, and we came up with, like, this cool new thing. No, it is straight up Japan. Like, they stole the names and everything. They stole specific religious imagery. They stole specific titles, names, concepts. I mean, you name it. So, hey, that's cool, right? Because they have so much respect for the Japanese culture, and, they wanted to kind of reflect the different, Japanese history and the architecture and all the different beliefs and all that. That's really cool. Except it's not, because that's not what they did. Now, as a positive aspect, they added all kinds of weird stuff that isn't Japanese at all, which is kind of cool. Like, honestly, some of the main mechanics. They kind of just dropped in, like, wizard mechanics in the middle of it, like Arcane. But then they literally had something called Bushido, so... and here's, like, where the point of contention comes up. There's actual Bushido, and then there's, like, Japanese anime and Japanese movies mostly made by America and just, really dishonest, inaccurate textbook and, like, Disney movie Bushido. Real Bushido wasn't even followed by hardly anybody. It was, like, just a bunch of suggestions. They weren't absolutely written in stone, and nobody was like, yes, that is the code I live by. It's been kind of blown up to be this ridiculous myth. I mean, right up there with, like, the whole history of, like, Thanksgiving. I mean, you guys know how it goes. Something happened hundreds of years ago, and people just report on, like, the really good, cool aspects of it until it gets warped into something that it doesn't even vaguely resemble. I mean, if you look up how samurai really acted, they weren't, like, noble, awesome, elite warriors and all that. They were just, like, arrogant, psychotic, murdering psychopaths, and it was legal under some circumstances to just walk up and kill somebody if they didn't like them. Whenever they didn't have somebody to serve, they pretty much just became criminals, or they just... basically said that they're too arrogant and too elite to, get a normal job, so they just became, like, a contract killer. Samurai were basically just, like, the worst, most stuck-up rich people you could ever meet in your life. They were pretty much universally hated, and the whole idea of, like, samurai and anime and stuff, it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. Total whitewashing of their actual history. So, do I really think Magic the Gathering should come out with a set that's super, ultra authentic Japan? No. I mean, you probably caught that already. If they did, I'd be like, okay, why are we sort of in Japan? And now it would go to, no, seriously, this is freaking Japan. Now it's like, really, why are we in Japan? Like, how did Japan get transported out of our reality into the Wizards of the Coast magic world and then land on a particular plane? Like, how did that happen? Because obviously now it's super accurate. But then the reason for being inaccurate is because, they want it to be cool and stylistic. But then it just carries on the stupid stereotypes about, like, samurai and Bushido and all this other nonsense that isn't even real. I'm sure Japanese people looked at the set, and if they know anything about their own history, they're like, this is utter mythology. It is so stupid and so inaccurate, it's almost insulting. But see, that's where they get away with it. This is way outside just Magic the Gathering. This is like I said, every video game ever where they just throw out a culture and you're like, oh, look, it's Hinduism. Oh, good, we're in space Mongolia. Awesome. Oh, look, I landed on a new alien planet, and, yeah, it's basically Thailand. Or, of course, my favorite, you go into Star Wars, and it's like, oh, we're in frickin' 14th century England. Except in a galaxy far, far away and in space. Because that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. But see, that's where they get away with it. It isn't real Japan, it isn't real England, it isn't real Thailand, so now we can just make stuff up, and we can completely just massacre the actual history of the actual place. Were the Native Americans really like this? Hell no, this is an offensive stereotype of Native Americans, but it's space Native Americans, so it's okay. The same thing goes for the Magic set. It's like, oh, is this really how things were? Is this an accurate representation? Is this even accurate to their actual religious beliefs? No. But it's not real Japan, it's Kamigawa, which is in a pretend fictional land. So it's like it can be based on Japan and not based on Japan at the same time, and they have excuses for the second of those at least. So what's my solution? Make up your own damn culture. If you're gonna create a new place, then create a new place. Like, actually come up with one. Like, you look at, Urza's world and that whole Urza storyline, that was amazing. I don't think that was really based on anything. I mean, everything's based on something. But even, like, the Phyrexians and their origin, I mean, you could say, oh, that's based on that sci-fi or whatever. Yeah, probably, but it's not, like, some huge thing that everybody knows about. So whenever people were saying back then, and this wasn't like a big thing, but from what I heard, some people were complaining about, oh, this is so insulting and cartoonish and irreverent. They just fire back with, yeah, but it's not Japan. We're not like making a non-fiction account of Japan. That Japan is not the real setting. It's just the influence for the realm for no logical reason at all. And that's a cop-out. I mean, how hard is it to just come up with your own damn storyline and your own damn culture? Here, let's see. I'm going to give myself 30 seconds to think of a new plane and a description of it. You ready for this? Okay, I checked. That only took me 21 seconds. You ready for this? This is actually pretty good. I'm actually surprised. You meet a settlement of humans because humans are in every realm, and a whole bunch of them, like their religion, is that they're obsessed with like OCD level like patterns and stuff. So all their architecture is like real precise, and it's all, geometric, and nothing's chaotic, and everything's just patterns and patterns and patterns. And so all the mechanics on all the cards in that plane would be like, oh, you get this many, or you get exactly 5 of these, you get all 4 of them out of your deck, and you get some huge bonus. Or if all of your creatures have exactly the same attack power than this, it's kind of like just a play on OCD. And then you've got the opposing forces that are hiding on the moon, and they're trying to come down and just mess things up because they don't like them, and they're just into chaos. They're just into complete chaos. And they don't like order. They think it's, too neat and tidy, and those people are annoying, so they want to just invade and take over, and they use the power of just absolute chaos. Anything can happen, and all of their card mechanics would be based on, like, random chance, and, flip up the top card and then do this if it's this, or roll a die, and that's how much attack power you have. In fact, you can make a dual deck called Order versus Chaos. For God's sake, I should just sell this to them. See, I did all that without having to reference a major world culture or religion. It's just a fun, crazy, silly storyline that I think would be an interesting set. And yes, it's based on like a common sort of minor mental illness, but like I said, everything's based on something. You're not going to come up with something so original and unheard of that, people just find it completely and utterly confusing. So overall, that's my beef with Kamigawa. I mean, and pretty much any other game or book or fanfic or movie or anything else that rips off like some thing just horribly and completely inaccurately. And then, of course, in the case of sci-fi and fantasy, for no logical frickin' reason. I don't think in real life in the year 2500, when we're blasting off into space and going through wormholes and crap, we're going to come across Space Japan, okay? I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that they should go around making sets that are based on, anything really in real life that's, sensitive. Even if the Japanese people as a whole don't care about that block, which I have no idea what they think of it, I would assume some of them found it offensive, but I don't remember people like rioting and saying, oh, let's ban it, Plus Japanese people are way too chill for that. But coming out with this set that's, loosely based on it, it just perpetuates these ridiculous mythological ideas and just stereotypes and cliches and inaccuracies and just like promotes them. And I'm no like historian just obsessed with like being a stickler for exact precision or any of that. It's just stay away from real stuff if you're in a sci-fi and fantasy environment. So that's why I don't like Kamigawa. Just a reminder, it's not like I absolutely hate it. Oh my god, it should have never been made. People need to get fired over this and heads need to roll. No, I just slightly dislike it. It's not like I absolutely despise it and hate it, wish it would go away. I would consider it just a slight misstep in design choices, and I just hope they don't go back to something like that. But, knowing them, they'll probably land in the very next plane of America, spelled C-U-H, to make it just a little bit different. And it'll just be filled with nothing but incorrect, inaccurate, offensive stereotypes of Americans. They'll all be fat as hell, lazy, entitled, arrogant, and trying to take over the rest of the world, none of which is remotely true. But that's what stupid Europeans believe when they watch our television. Thanks, television. Thanks, Hollywood. Hopefully you guys have a pretty good idea of why I and several other people found Kamigawa to be just stupid, bad, and annoying, and just a bad design choice. Nothing major. It doesn't really annoy me that much. But if there's another reason that I didn't mention that you didn't like the block, definitely put it down in the comment section, and I will see you guys next video.